the first and most important question we want to ask is, when did you actually wake up and understand that, what really is going on with COVID is all bullshit?
March of 2020.
That quickly?
Yeah. I can give you a brief history. You want me to
Please.
tell you? So, I'm busy plastic surgeon, not paying attention to much. I can't say that's not true. I always pay attention to stuff, but I kind of believe the narrative, right? There's people dying. There's a really bad virus out there. What's going on? I'm just kind of hearing it peripherally. I don't watch the news, but I listen to podcasts. And at the time I was listening to a trading show, a guy who trades stocks based upon current public events and current, political things that are happening. And, just, just based on current world events. Okay. And he has this theory and philosophy that stocks will react to that. So I'd listen to him, and part of it is he just gives his synopsis of the news. And so we just see all the stuff that everybody else is seeing, right? Wuhan shutting down. You see this virus coming out of nowhere. You see all these incinerator hotspots that the satellite pictures are picking up. You see people, keeling over in the streets. Then you see, just outside of Milan, Italy, in a little town called just outside of Bergamo, Italy, getting hit, and then Spain, and then, Seattle gets its first case, and then New York gets, quote unquote, kind of like under siege. But, places were shutting down. And so I'm in Utah, and our governor's talking about a shutdown. And it's middle of March. I think Tuesday, March 16th, I think it is, if we look back in the schedule. I operate on Tuesday, Thursday. So at the end of my surgery day on a Tuesday, I get home. I don't remember exactly what I saw, but I saw something, and I called my office manager. I said, hey, it's not worth it. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't want to have people coming in that I don't know, people that have been exposed to things that we don't know about. I'm going to shut the office. Let's just have one person in the office kind of answer phones and keep the doors locked, and we'll just, kind of run our business that way. And then that way they can still get a hold of us, and I can still go into the office if they need to see me. But for now, we're shut down, knowing that Utah was going to be shutting down soon just because everybody else had. So Tuesday afternoon, so then I had nothing to do but study and read, watch podcasts, gather information and refresh myself on microbiology and viruses and bacteria and all that stuff that I had forgotten from, I don't know, we're talking about 2020. So we're talking about 30 years ago. So, pulling out all my old books, looking up new things online, and, reading about the virus, reading about what was going on. It took me 36 hours. And by Thursday, I was ready to open my office back up. I just, I waved my white flag, said, this thing is just nothing but BS. And that's when I really started studying, what people were doing. And that's when I found Dr. Vladimir Zelenko, Brian Tyson, and George Freed from California. Started, just following people, listening to what it was that they were doing. And then over the course of time, more and more people were coming out. I think Peter McCullough was one of the first ones as well.
Ryan Cole, I think, was one of them too.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Cole was out there. Pierre Corey was out there. The FLCC guys, the America's Frontline Doctors. Mm-hmm. So I just started following, and, Michael Yeadon, a PhD immunologist, kind of like career Pfizer, executive, in charge of vaccine development, worldwide vaccine development for Pfizer, was coming out against it. And so I just started following. And the first one was Vladimir Zelenko, and he puts out this protocol. I watched his video where he talked about how he sent a video to Donald Trump, talked about hydroxychloroquine. I think that was the reason why Donald Trump actually talked about hydroxychloroquine in one of those press conferences, that then, little mouse tall, Anthony Fauci gets up there and goes, that's just anecdotal, and whatever. And so it's just kind of, and completely undermined, Donald Trump. And then you have all that stuff that's out there, where that one guy kind of said that they accused Donald Trump of murder or something like that because the guy took out, chloroquine from underneath his, fish tank and drank it because he thought he was saving him. Again, stories you just don't know about.
Yeah, it's all just hearsay because it was a hydroxychloroquine. It was the ivermectin where they were calling it a dewormer, a horse dewormer.
Yeah, for me, the ivermectin didn't happen until later. But initially it was hydroxychloroquine. So hydroxychloroquine, Zithromax, vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. Okay. And that's the protocol that Dr. Zelenko, as far as I know, is the first one to kind of put that out, which was also just based upon his history and what he had done. I mean, Anthony Fauci looked back. I mean, if you look back on him in 2007, 2008, he published an article about the treatment of SARS. And he said that SARS could be adequately treated with the use of hydroxychloroquine. Okay. Published an article. He's a lead author in an article back in 2007 and 2008. And so, that was out there. And so that's all I did. I just read and I looked at things. Look, the first red flag to me was there's no treatment. Okay. I'm a physician. We treat people. All right. I'm a surgeon. I intervene. I do things. I try to make people better by intervening and making their life better, by operating, by either taking things out, putting things in, whatever it is that we need to do to try to make life better for them. And that's what we do as physicians. You want to intervene. You want to make a difference. You want to treat people. And so when you get that whole narrative that says there's no treatment for flu-like illness, okay, we're talking about a flu-like illness. We're talking about fever, chills, malaise, loss of
taste and smell,
which is typical, which is not untypical with other flu-like illnesses. Okay,
you're absolutely right.
It happens, and so people get sick, and it's the same thing. And so that to me was so antithetical to medicine that I knew right from the get-go that there was something wrong.
Did you enjoy that clip? Click over here to watch the full episode, and click over here to subscribe to the WiseNuts podcast YouTube channel.